Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster, here with you. Just managing to get in a bulletin before I return from Italy ahead of Saturday's Grand National, which, of course, we're all very excited about. And we'll be posting a bulletin Friday afternoon with my selections for the big race. And, of course, one or two other races on Grand National Day. But the world's greatest steeplechase is, of course, one of the great sporting events. And we'll be focusing on that in Friday's bulletin. But before that, I have selections for both Thursday and Friday on this bulletin, and there are 4 recommendations across the 2 days. If you happen to be joining me for the very first time, well, I'm a broadcaster and racing journalist of many years, too many years standing, and I specialize really in fairly big priced recommendations, each way selections most of the time. And over the seasons and calendar years since we started in July 2020, things have gone very well, showing regular profits over the period. So let's hope we're in for more this coming weekend. Last week I gave just 2 selections, but it was very profitable. The Ferry Master, well, he didn't really jump well enough in the Scottish Grand National and eventually faded to finish 9th of the 24. He wasn't disgraced, but his jumping let him down. But not so Anna Bonina, my other selection, who I recommended at 13-2, and she overcame trouble in running after the last under a great Sean Bowen ride to come through and power home to beat West Cork in the closing stages. It was a really exciting finish. I hope you were on. And a very profitable one. She was SP of 6-1. So whether you took the 13-2 as I did, or the SP, you would have made a very tidy profit over those 2 choices. Well, let's hope the good run continues. I'm going to take you straight on now to Thursday at Aintree. And my first choice is in the 220 race, which is the Grade 1 4-year-old juvenile hurdle. It's over 2 miles and 1 furlong. They're forecasting ground that is good to soft in places, so proper spring ground. Now, the Irish do appear at first glance to hold all the aces here, with Pied Piper, who was a very close third in the Triumph Hurdle for Gordon Elliott, and Brazil, who is for Padraig Roach. Pied Piper at around evens 11-10, and Brazil at around 2-1. Brazil, winner of the Fred Winter at the Cheltenham Festival a few weeks ago. Both of them with big chances, but both of them have proper races there. Sometimes that can take the edge off them. Petit Tonnerre is very interesting for JP McManus as well, as is Brazil. But Petit Tonnerre has just had 3 runs and won them all. 2 of them were in France. He won on his British racing bow for John Joe O'Neill in February and is completely unexposed, so could be anything. And then you've got Fontenette, who's 3 from 3 in France and makes its debut for Venetia Williams. But this horse has only ever really run on soft or very testing ground, and it'll be quite an achievement, first time in Britain, were it to win on much quicker ground on its UK bow. Now, I'm going right out on a limb here on one, and it's a big, big price. And the horse is called Too Friendly. It's trained by Dan Skelton and ridden by his brother Harry. And to me, the horse looks overpriced, and I'll explain to you why. It was rated a decent middle distance handicapper at 88 on the flat, which is a similar level to the form achieved by both Pied Piper and Brazil on the level. Now, Too Friendly made a good start to its hurdling career, winning a couple of times at Stratford and then at Newcastle. And then it was 4th in a Grade 2 to Knight Salute, who is set to reoppose on Thursday. And then it ran poorly after that at Cheltenham. And then last time out in the Fred Winter, you would have to have seen the race, pulling very hard for much of the trip, and in a top race, you can't do that. You need to get your energy all there safe for the end. Despite that, the horse still ran very well in the Fred Winter, was only a couple of lengths behind Brazil going to the last, and in the end came home, I believe, to finish 5th. I haven't written it on my notes, so I'm working off memory here, which is a problem, believe me. Now, there's no doubt about it. He's worse off at the weights, 12 pounds worse off. But in the Fred Winter, he was running for the first time since having a breathing operation, a wind operation. And very often, horses and their jockeys are just a little bit anxious about whether to really put in all the effort because they're not sure the breathing's going to work. Well, it did work. And I just think that the flatter track is really going to help his cause. I also like the look of the race, the shape of the race, and that there are two confirmed front runners who will go quick, Inca Prince and In the Air, and they should hopefully go fast enough to allow Harry Skelton to settle too friendly. And the other point is, why on earth would they be taking on Brazil on much worse terms if they didn't think they had some sort of a chance of at least getting closer or even turning the tables? I think the better ground, the flatter track, they'll have the strong pace that'll suit as well. And I just think this horse, second time after the breathing operation, could bounce back. And I think he's good each way value at 5.050 to 1. And that is offered each way for 3 places with a couple of firms at the time of this recording. So 50 to 1 each way. I think it's Bet365 who are amongst the couple of firms that are offering those prices at the time of this recording on Wednesday afternoon. So I'm not saying he'll win, but a 50 to 1 each way place is better than Neven's winner. And I think Too Friendly has a sporting chance of upsetting the odds and running really well in the 220 at Aintree on Thursday. Now, also on Thursday, I take you to the 3:30, the Grade 1 Aintree hurdle, 2.5 miles. Just the 7 runners here, and they include the former champion hurdler Lepetante, who bounced back with an excellent effort when second to the wonderful Honeysuckle in the champion hurdle. But is she going to stay 2.5 miles? I'm not sure, and I suspect a lot of punters won't be sure either. No, it's the same question mark for Zanahiyr, who was third in the champion hurdle, having previously seen the rear of Honeysuckle when second in the Irish champion hurdle a month earlier. Again, he hasn't won over this trip. He may well stay. He gives that impression, but would you want to bet on it? Monmiral is a horse who this time last year looked a potential superstar when he beat Adagio in the Grade 1 4-year-old hurdle, but things haven't gone right for him this year and he hasn't looked the same horse. I'd love to see him bounce back here at Aintree, but I wouldn't be prepared to bet that he will do so. So my choice in a tricky little race is BREWINUPASTORM, who's trained by the excellent Ollie Murphy, who's really been doing great stuff over the last couple of years. And Sean Bowen, the man who punched home Anne Bernini for us last Saturday, he's on board. And that is interesting in itself, and I'll come to why a little later on. Now, the former BREWINUPASTORM for me is absolutely rock solid. He beat Fabulous, who reopposes in last year's Grade 2 National Spirit Hurdle at Fontwell at around this trip. Then he was 5th in this very race last year to Abracadabras. He didn't jump very well for some reason on this day, really don't know why. But he jumped much better when he reappeared here at Aintree over course and distance in November. And then he was going really strongly, and for me was looking the likely winner when he fell when upsides at the last in the Yorkhill hurdle at Cheltenham on New Year's Day. So this is a horse who has a lot of ability. He'd go on all sorts of tracks and he stays 2.5 miles. After the New Year's Day unfortunate episode, he won a little race as far as numerically was concerned, but a valuable race at Lingfield. But then last time out, back at the National Spirit Hurdle at Fontwell, he looked all over the winner halfway up the run-in, having gone past Botox Has, but then idled. And that allowed Botox House to get back up in the last couple of strides. Now, that was back in February. He didn't go to Cheltenham because I think they've had this race on the radar ever since last year. He will be fresher than most. He stays. He's won over course and distance. And I think it's significant that Sean Bowen is taking over. He's usually ridden by Aidan Coleman. I'm not sure why Aidan is riding, but it might be, and I may be completely wrong here, that they decided to just have a change of jockey after what happened at Fontwell last time. So BREWINUPASTORM in a 7-runner race, normally just 2 places, but because it's a big meeting, so on and so forth, there are some firms betting 3 places, and that means that 11 to 2 at a fifth of the odds, it's a bet to nothing for 3 places. BREWINUPASTORM, and 11 to 2 is offered with Corals, Betfred, and Ladbrokes at the time of this recording on Wednesday afternoon. So check him out, BREWINUPASTORM, Aintree 3:30. And then on to Friday, when I shall be back home by then after my travels. Friday, Aintree 3:30, and another great race in prospect for the Grade 1 Marsh Chase, the former Melling Chase. as most of us will know it. It's 2.5 miles, a high-class contest, 10 runners this year, and they include last year's very, very impressive winner, Fakir Duderis, who beat Nutswell 11 lengths in this race last year. He's already shown this year he's in equally good form by winning the Grade 1 Ascot Chase in February. He's been given a little rest since then, so he'll be absolutely fresh and well. Around a 13-to-8 chance. This is a favourite that if I was a favourite backer, I would certainly be interested in. He's a rock solid course and distance, form, everything going for him, I would suggest. But there's no such thing as a certainty. Now, two of his main rivals, for me, have stamina doubts. They are So Royal and Captain Guinness, both of whom are crackerjacks over 2 miles, 2.25. I'm just not sure about them at this trip. Funambule Sivola for Venetia Williams was a superb second in the Champion Chase to the brilliant Energumeni. That was a great effort. He did have quite a hard race, though. And will that just have taken the edge off him here? And then there's All Mankind for the Skelts, who won over course and distance in October in the Monet's Garden Old Rowan Chase, but has disappointed twice since. It might be that returning to Aintree and Merseyside might help his cause, but it's a slightly risky betting proposition. Now, for me, there's a horse at a price here who I think could go very well, and his name is HITMAN. HITMAN for Paul Nicholls, the great Paul Nicholls, and Bryony Frost will give it a great ride as always. This is a talented horse, HITMAN. He's only run the 8 races over fences. He's won a couple of them, including over 2.5 miles at Newbury in March of last season. And then he went on here at this Aintree meeting 12 months ago to finish 3rd to Protectorat in a Grade 1 and only beaten 4 lengths off levels. Now, I ask you, if Protectorat was in this, what price would he be? He'd surely be favourite, maybe 6-4. I think punters would certainly prefer him to Fakir Derduri. So if HITMAN can return to close to last season's Aintree form, he will go very well indeed. Now, looking at him this season, he was a very good second to Eldorado Allen on his reappearance in the Hull Gold Cup at Exeter. Then he was second to Greenoteen over less than 2 miles, which is short for him, in the Grade 1 Tingle Creek Chase in December. And he might have been a touch rusty or below par when 3rd or 4th to Funambula Sivola in the Grade 2 Game Spirit Chase at Newbury in early February. Now, that was a time at which Paul Nicholls' horses were generally running slightly below expectations. But the winner, of course, is Frank Reform in the Champion Chase. The good thing about HITMAN is he is a relatively fresh horse. The ground is there to suit him, and he goes well on this track. So I think that he's the value bet each way to take on Fakir Doderi, and 14-1 each way is a general offer with a number of firms, and that's for 3 places at present. It might be that by Friday there are a few firms offering 4 places or maybe better odds. So remember, as always, to shop around. And while I remember, if I haven't already done so, please remember to press the button, the red button just below this screen, so you'll be kept in touch, the subscribe button with all my selections. Don't forget that, of course. Let me take you on now to my final choice, and it's over the Grand National Fences. Yeah, they'll be going over the Birch there at Aintree at 4:05 on Friday in the Grade 3 Topham Trophy, the Topham Handicap Chase, 30 runners. Now, the winners in the last 4 years of this race have ranged from 15-2 to 50-1. So basically, you pay your money, you take your chance here. 30 runners, the Grand National Fences, luck in running always required. I'm not going to go through them all, of course, but there's no doubt that Mr. Coffey for Nicky Henderson has a very good chance on recent form, ticks all the right boxes, and there's plenty of positives as well for Willie Mullins' Royal Rendezvous and for Senior Citizen, who's been in good form of late. Also, trainer Peter Bowen does well at Aintree over the National Fences. He's got a couple in this, Mac Totti and Frankie de Burley, who I think are both worth considering. And another Willie Mullins runner who should go well at a price is Animix. I think he could go really quite well, and I was seriously considering him. But in the end, I have gone with a horse called Foxy Jacks, an Irish-trained runner for Mouse Morris and Jonathan Moore. He's the choice, and he's generally been in very good form in Ireland this term. He was 7th of 28 in the Paddy Power Chase at Leopardstown Christmas meeting, which is a red-hot handicap. He then went to Gowran Park and was disappointed, but that was on really soft ground. And he's a horse who doesn't like it really soft. He prefers the type of ground that is forecast for Aintree on Friday. Now, he bounced back after that disappointment by finishing 2nd of 17 to Birchdale in the Leopardstown Handicap Chase at the Dublin Festival. Red hot form that. And he was still going very well indeed at the Cheltenham Festival last month when he absolutely hammered the third last fence. Now, it's rare you see a horse go up in the air after hitting a fence. It's normally the jockey. But that's what happened here, and it completely stopped him in his tracks. He kept going, and he wasn't completely disgraced in that Ultima Handicap Chase, I think. But for that bad mistake, which was uncharacteristic, he might well have run into the frame there in the Ultima. This time, hopefully with a clear round. He's a horse who stays, he usually jumps well. If the luck in running is there on ground to suit, I think that the offer of 25 to 1 for 8 places, mind you, with Sky Bet. So that's a real one that I'll be definitely stepping in for. 8 places, 25 to 1. And at the moment, Bet365 are also offering 7 places. So remember to shop around. He may go bigger on the day. But Foxy Jacks is the one for me. Let's hope he gives us a good spin in the Topham Trophy at Aintree on Friday at 4:05 at 25 to 1. So that's it for this bulletin for the first 2 days of the Randox Aintree Festival for Thursday and Friday. As I mentioned earlier, I'll be back Friday afternoon with my choice or choices for the Grand National, as well as other selections on Grand National Day. So make a date, join me Friday afternoon, and let's hope the good run of form continues. But for now, from me, Paul Alster in Italy, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you back home for my bulletin this weekend. Bye-bye for now.